All right, I will call the Village of Belleville Committee of the whole meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Roll call.
I didn't print this out. Okay. Give me just a second. Mike Service,
Here.
Trustee Bannon,
Here.
Longard, here, Hammond,
Here.
Michael Crouch, here, Jasmine,
Here.
Ziegler.
Here.
We've got a quorum.
All right. Approval of minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
So hang on, that's on their track. So let's do, I'm sorry, public comment then first. Ashley? Okay. All right, consent agenda is the minutes from the last committee of the whole meeting on March 2nd.
Make a motion to approve the minutes
Second.
All right,
for the consent agenda, I should say.
all right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Committee reports. I got anything from their last committee meeting?
It's been quiet.
All right.
Oh, I do.
No, go ahead.
Parks. Parks are starting next month at Albert.
Parks. Oh, you're talking about the construction, but the actual.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Yes, they'll be, well, no, they're already started. They laid, water line in there for the drinking fountains and they've started some of the grading for, Albert Street. So it's already going.
I think you got your park equipment on Carolina.
I got a receipt for it. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't been out there.
It's sitting out there in crates.
Nice.
The other committees? All right, village staff reports.
I don't have anything.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Hey, there's an election tomorrow. So 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. at Village Center. Please drop by, come visit our beautiful new mural, which is also hanging in the boardroom now. Everything else is in my memo, so.
All right, that moves us on to old businesses. Discuss the 2026 resident feedback survey results.
Yes,
Or Ian or Gabe, whoever you are, whichever.
this guy over here.
Yeah.
So it's attached to the agenda and I pulled up on the screen here. Mary, can you take?
Nope, give me a second. That shouldn't have done that. I'm trying to close it. There you go.
Thank you.
I'm trying to get on Wi-Fi.
All right. So response ratio, we had 147 responses and 111 of those were residents. So that's 3% of the population. So I will stress this over and over again, is this should be interpreted as feedback, but it is not statistically representative, nor is it statistically valid data. It is good data to kind of like, all right, like general thoughts and feelings, but to make a rash decision or kind of as that is the overall opinion of residents is not, I would not do that. But it is just good information to have. So what, obviously most did come from residents. But again, 3%, we have 2,900 residents or thereabouts, so there was 3% of the population. Focus on themes and signals, but don't treat it as a scientific sample. Community priorities over the next few years. Truly the essential was economic health, multimodal transportation, neighborhood design, and then health and wellness got important, but was not in the essential, nor was it kind of that. So again, they want us to focus on safety and economic health, and then parks, natural environment, and then keep our strategic attention based on quality of life priorities. And stop me whenever you have questions. So quality of life aspects, we hoped it, we had it narrowed down just a little bit more. So obviously our strong identity is our ability to raise families. Our schools were top rated in that area. There are gaps in economic activity, destination appeals, and amenities. Obviously we're working on that downtown and on the west side. But I do think that is one of the things that the Economic Development Committee is going to focus on in the next term. What we'll get out of our comp plan is what does Belleville want to be? What are we? Who are we? Who are we trying to attract? Are we trying to attract the nature loving people who are, come kayak, grab a beer, ride their bike down here and then go home? Are we trying to get bachelorette parties, bachelor parties? Are we trying to attract people outside of Belleville into Belleville? Or do we want to attract people that are already in Belleville to shop in Belleville? So I think there's a lot of questions that this kind of helps, but what it does show is that there is some work on that area, economic development. Quality of life, obviously, taxes was important, but if you look, taxes got 21%, but spending money was higher, 80%, so 79%. So people say taxes are important, but their next priorities were obviously to spend more money. So it is a little bit of a kind of,
Where are you getting that 79% from?
well, that's what everything else is. So
Oh.
of taxes is,
You did math.
I did math. So obviously, safety and crime is always our top priority. That's what residents in every city and every place across the country is, public safety is always gonna be your top budget. That's just how it is, police, fire, and EMS. Housing is obviously a priority, and then our recreational services. In the recreational services area, we are working with Akayla to see if we can partner up anyway with her Belleville clinic. Like if they can provide recreational classes or something like that. So we're gonna try to see if we can include that in our 2027 budget. Because that is a gap. Regardless if people claim it is on the survey or not, we know it's a gap in quality of life. And statement towards village direction, positive ratings. We're obviously low for transparency and information. You will see later that our website is the most viewed thing, or next to the most viewed thing, but yet they don't have access to information. And so there is a little bit of, why is that, not correlating? Feeling informed, but again, when you try to get people to come to meetings or attend things, it's hard. We have one person in the audience right now. Clerk's office got really good ratings. There's nothing really to promote, but a lot of people don't know about the licenses and permits. Community development, a lot of people don't know about community development, which is really funny because it's actually the thing that people care the most about, housing, what businesses are here, and yet they don't know what a community development department does. The Belleville Public Library is clearly one of the top, public support in the village. Operational services, I wish I had last year's data compared with this. We actually did go up quite a bit in just, how well people view our areas. So I picked the top 4. Snow ice removal, street maintenance, care of parkway trees, and water quality. Our water bills may be high, but people do think our water is good, so. PD, obviously a lot of dissatisfaction in seeing people around town. Well, that does happen when we don't have any police officers for a little while, and we were short. We were now back to staff, and then when I was driving around today, there was 2 active on patrolling the streets, and chief was in his office, so that felt good to see. Kind of, it took a little while to get there, but it's a good that we're kind of getting back up to that level. So the visibility scores will go up at a lot of officers on staff. Since that they were up.
So you made the comment, were these the same questions that got asked 2 years ago, or? Because it would be interesting to see.
70%, but different styles of ask.
Okay.
So I didn't think it was comparable because it was asked in different ways.
Okay.
So it's kind of communication preferences. Obviously, 89% of people said the village website is their top, but then they said they didn't have any way to find information. So like, where is that gap? Word of mouth, as you see on the social media pages and all that, word of mouth is definitely an area that we get a lot of traffic on what's going on in the village. Our social media is used quite a bit, and we've seen a lot of uptick in our own likes, reactions, and just follows on our social media page. So it is clearly working. Utility bills, and then calling and visiting Village Hall, which actually I like that one. like I've said, you can't really use this as kind of a measure, but I do like that people come more than they don't, come to Village Hall to ask a question. Like that to me is, we're doing something right. Local media, makes sense. The paper covers us part-time when they feel like it, and so we don't get a ton of newspaper coverage. And then YouTube, we post village board meetings, committee of the whole meetings, and planning commission meetings on YouTube. And so there is, for the three most important things that we do, what gets built here and what happens government-wise are recorded so everybody can see. Communication preferences, this one I will kind of take a little bit more, just in the fact of what do people care about? They don't care about when Village Hall is open, to the extent that they do about road projects. What I also thought funny was they didn't want us to spend any money or time on special events, but they want to know the most about special events right outside of road projects. So like, you don't want us to focus on special events, but yet you want to know the most about what we're doing in special events. Again, not entirely sure. Emergencies make sense, winter related, local development, severe weather, curbside collection, like all of that makes sense. 82% people said they'd sign up for like a text message notification system. 10 said they were unlikely, and then 8 said nope, won't do it. And then next steps, obviously, kind of look at the strategic plan, identify in this area, you know, what do we like, what do we not like out of this plan or this survey, and take it to that next step. I kind of rushed through this. Was there anything that you guys noticed or anything you want me to kind of go over a little bit more? In the feedback that you guys have about it. I'm not sure if this is totally useful to do again. We have a comment box on our website. Drew gets called from residents all the time. Aaron gets called, Ian gets called. I do the coffee with the administrator, so like there's a ton of ways that, and board members, you guys do your things, so like.
I mean, you know, the communication thing is the, you know, we talked about it and it's gonna be in the next presentation, but about, you know, a village-wide newsletter and all that kind of stuff. I'm just not sure. I mean, I always go by the old adage, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't get him to drink. You know, and I realize not everybody is on social media, not everybody has a computer, but some of these things with the communication, I'm just not sure how much more we can do other than hand delivering or calling everybody in town every time something goes on. You know.
But don't they have some ownership in getting some information on?
I agree. Yeah, that's the point I'm trying to make. You know, we get blamed or yelled at because people don't know things. Well, it's not like it's not out there, you know.
Yeah, it's there. You choose not to look it up, so that's not on us.
And one thing that we do now is the utility billing, when they get a new person, Mike and I sign new resident letters and it says, here's all the ways you can get information. And we mail it to every new resident, whether they moved from one part of town to the other part or they're new. Every time they sign up for a water bill, we send a letter. And I think, yes, I don't know. Do they put our business cards still in there?
Was that?
Do they put our business cards still in there?
You know, I think.
I think so.
I think
So they
so.
put Mike and I's business card in there to say, hey, like, here's the administrator, here's the village president. Like, if you have questions, contact us. Here's the website, here's social media, here's.
Got a little, got a
Email.
QR.
And a QR code.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I was gonna go, is, you know, yeah, everything that goes out, we put a QR code that gets them right to the website would be, you know, it probably helps, but again, you know, they gotta have a phone with a camera and be able to.
There's always gonna be some people too, though, that will think this is all a show and that the real government is happening in a smoky room
Yeah.
somewhere. Like, that's really just not the case.
Well,
It's
I
like,
mean,
you wanna come in and talk to Village Hall, we'll tell you what's
Yeah.
going on.
I mean, the transparency is always gonna be an issue because, you know, I still get harassed every once in a while about, you know, a closed session. Well, again, there are just certain things, you know, we're not gonna discuss in open session. You can't, you know, by state law so.
So it's not
Yeah,
your fault.
I'm not sure, it's kind of frustrating to look at those, but like I said, you look at one result and it says we're doing great, and then 3 things later, it says we're not doing so great in that, so I'm not sure what.
You're never gonna please everyone.
No, I know,
And it's like Congress, it's the old adage in political science, Congress is terrible. My individual representative is great.
Yeah,
The entity as a whole is terrible, but my person, oh, they're good. Like that's in political science, that's what we study. And so that's kind of what this is. All these departments are doing fantastic, but the village as a whole, no. So take that as you will. And then we can just go into the plan if you want.
any questions on that then? All right, so then the new business is, discuss the updates to the 2025, 2029, update to the 2035 Future Ready Strategic Plan.
So we do this, we'll do this every 2 years-ish. And it's just a general update on our strategic plan. It goes until 2035, and yet every 4 years is a kind of a, is these plan, is a minor set of the plan, which updates every 2 years, just to make sure it is relevant to things. The purpose of it is really to get ahead of items that our community is gonna face over the next 10 years. It kind of, and it helps staff to understand why we do what we do, what it takes for us to achieve the future we desire, and how we accomplishes our work, and it fits into that broader framework as the comprehensive plan informs the strategic plan. I will pause right here. We are redoing the comprehensive plan, so this is more tailored to the older one, yet the items in the strategic plan are still relevant. We took the stuff that wasn't in the comprehensive plan out of this part. The strategic plan drives the annual operating budget. Your guys' job as the board is to stay up. It's my job to get us to where you told me to go. And so the strategic plan then drives the general operations. And then the budget moderates the strategic plan. It's cool that we say we want 1 million things. Budget wise, we know we can't afford it. So the budget moderates where we want to go, and then it enables us to operate, and then allows us to go more into that strategic management, looking at what we're doing and using data to kind of help make decisions. The organization's mission is dedicated to providing efficient and effective community-based resources, promoting environmental and economic sustainability while promoting small town values and high quality life. Our mission is to enhance our French namesake, Beautiful Village, and then our organizational values are to the right. Is there any, and you don't have to say now, but is there any effort or anybody wanting to change it with this? Because we do put it on the website, it's on our onboarding, it's, you know, we use it. The personnel manual.
So are you gonna go through?
I will get you all that.
Okay, I'll wait till the end then.
So the strategic plan framework is the focus areas. Where do we want to go in the next 5 years? That's really where you guys lead us. And then it's our job, staffs, department heads, mine is to get us through there, to implement it, and then to follow up with how we're doing key performance indicators, KPIs. So our 5 focus areas are: 1 focus area, unmistakable identity. People choose Belleville. Belleville is a welcoming community with arts, diverse culture, special events, and an energetic downtown. Village parks and community events contribute to vibrancy experienced by all people in Belleville. Focus area 2 is safe and welcoming
You have
neighborhoods.
to try natural catch tuna. It is the best tuna
Focus
I've
area
ever
3, prosperity and economic security. Focus area 4, infrastructure and connectivity. And focus area 5 is exceptional services and governance. You can really base all 5 of those on what we do. Everything we do can be put into one of those buckets. Do we have any questions on those? So unmistakable identity in progress of what I need you guys to do and what staff will do before, which we will go over at our organizational meeting, is to talk about in progress and future. What are your guys' priorities? We have a lot of projects going on there. Some of them can't be moved. Some of it's, you know, it's dictated by the state or by a developer developing or something like that. But there are stuff that's more of a want that we can kind of push back. That's what I need you guys is kind of advising is what is your guys' top priority versus, you know, what is, you know, what can beat. So focus area number 1, unmistakable identity in progress. We have the village-wide trail system. obviously you guys have already pulled money out of that in the TID three debt issuance, so. You guys can tell me to wait, but it really wouldn't make sense if we already have that funding in place and ready to go, and it doesn't impact the taxpayer. Promote maintenance-free spaces. This project is what Drew is working on with the Parks Committee, and it's our retention ponds. Can we do native grasses and stuff like that and not have to mow all of our retention ponds all? One, it helps with water runoff, and two, it saves us so much labor time. One, does it take to mow everything? Did we say like 60 hours a week?
Oh, yes, I don't remember what, was it 60 hours? I think it was between 1 and 2 work weeks. I want to say you were right, 60 something. Yes.
That's a lot of time that we spend. Can we, beautify it a little bit, do more native grasses and not have to spend all this time just mowing a retention pond? Arts and culture roadmap. This is something that the Arts and Culture Committee needs to do, is just where do they want to go? What is the tasks that they are, wanting to accomplish? What does arts and culture look like? It was created because there was a gap in that area. When Nate Perry left the school district, they weren't taking up things. So there was a gap in the village, and so arts and culture was created to kind of fill that. Story stroll in Village Park was a capital item that allowed, I'm gonna put a book 10 to 12 stations in one of our parks on a trail, and kids could read a book while going on a hike and go to each station of it. And develop a street tree program, which Drew is about 95% done with the urban forestry management plan. So those are in progress right now.
I think we should quit that one.
How long is it? 80 pages?
63.
I think it's a good idea. Let's pivot.
Just kidding.
Update Main Street flower pots. This was because we're doing in 2030. Main Street's getting torn out. It's our chance to kind of revitalize, make things a little bit prettier downtown. Same with the public arts program guide. If people want to put, statues or murals or anything like that, like what does that process to look like? You guys had said in your plan you wanted a village-wide newsletter. We want to develop a green space plan, update the corp for park locations. I'm probably going to cut that is when we go through a new development, we walk through that. So it's kind of hard to tell what a good park location is going to look like. You guys have in the ordinances that hopefully you approve tonight tells us what we need to have, and then we use that to put in. So it's kind of hard to tell where a park location is going to be. Add educational signage in the parks. This could be physical education that we talk about, like you do a circuit, and in this circuit you do 10 jumping jacks. The next circuit you do 10 push-ups, then you do 10 pull-ups, or something like that. And then partner with university. That's the universities kind of help do projects for us that we can't do on our own.
Do you have the goal years for these future items?
Yeah, I have.
I'm just looking at them, and you said the flower pots, and that's gonna go 2030.
2030, yeah.
So, what's the priority of these?
And that's
You asked us to
something.
provide feedback on that, so.
And that was one thing that I don't know if we want to keep, if we keep the years on it, because if you look at the strategic plan, the other attachment, it does have the years to it. But then did we fail because we didn't do this flower pots in 26, even though, we're waiting in 2030?
Well,
Or, did the trail system become more of a priority because we had a funding source and we had to wait for the newsletter?
well, I think that was the point I was gonna bring up, but Mike just didn't.
Yeah.
I think, if it's a 2030 project, it's on the list, that's great, but we should put 2030 behind it, because otherwise people are gonna say, well, they haven't, yeah. I looked at that at first, and I'm thinking, that's a simple fix. It's not that difficult to replace those potters,
No.
but if we're gonna wait till 2030, we should put that in there, I think. So the thing I was gonna bring on, we'll bring on now, but for in the emergency management world, they have a system, and not a whole lot of people use it, but each of our goals or each of our projects, or in the event of a disaster, they kind of go by the stoplight colors, red, green, yellow, and then there's a black or a gray, as to where these items stand. I think, we really don't, it would be nice someplace on the website because when we did this originally, we had a spreadsheet that had all these things listed, which committee was gonna do it,
And
I
that
brought it up
is-
at one time. But it's not very, user-friendly, I don't think,
So
the
if you-
last time I looked at it, so.
Go to, so the website has their strategic plan, so if you go to the strategic plan under the village board. And scroll down to, the dashboard. This tells you where we are at with all of our in progress, future and completed, which staff member is responsible for how many, which committees are responsible for how many, and then it walks into each one of them, where's their progress at. So this is on our website.
If it's not very user-friendly.
No, it probably isn't.
So,
And then the other way is the old fashioned way, just going through the strategic plan.
Which is what I did when I wanted to go, yeah. So,
So that's kind of my question too, is like, review special event fees for DPW, I'm just picking one. Do you guys still want me to put the number and the committee that's responsible, or just put review special event fees for DPW? And then as staff, we can figure out as time allows what that date is.
I think at least which committee it's going to, right, you know,
But can we do that internally without on the strategic
I
plan?
guess.
Well, but this way people have the option to show up, so we're being transparent, so they have nothing to fuss about.
Sure.
If they see when the committee is meeting, they know which one it is. It's up to them if they show up or not, then they shouldn't be barking about, no, you're not transparent. It's right there.
I guess the only thing that I just don't want the board to say, hey, we failed in something because we had to prioritize. If something goes on, say, hey, Maren had to go focus on blank, yet in somewhere else in the document said she needed to focus on 2025, like. I just wanted to make sure that the board is okay with it. We have to shuffle things around, and maybe that's just every year we update the years.
I have to do something similar. Again, for emergency management, it's called an integrated preparedness plan, and I have, goals in my,
Yeah.
things in each one of those in each year, and, if it doesn't get done, you change the year. I mean, there are just things that are not gonna get done necessarily because it happens, so.
So I would say, take a look at this, your homework, and let me know if you still agree with the years or not, what is a priority, what isn't, and the years is really what dictates priority. Is this, is it coming next year? Yes,
Does the money not dictate the priority as well?
money dictates
Yeah.
priority.
So you do everything on the list next year, just double our debt service, that would add 30% to our taxes.
Yes, so that's why I think the not having the years to it, in my end at least, helps is then I know, hey, the board cares about this. I can make it happen and fit it into that piece of puzzle with the budget. So that's,
The nice thing about the year is it does give some,
what if it says
Something-
estimate?
well, yeah, I
Gives
mean,
you a target to shoot for.
yeah, if you put a year in there, it gives you, here's when we're, and again, anybody that thinks that nothing happens and priorities change is got their head buried in the sand, so, the 12 or 13 of us around this table should know that we can put that in there, but if something major happens, those are gonna change, those priorities are gonna change, it happens all the time, but but at least if you put a year in there, I think it gives some guidance to future boards and to, future administrators and everything that this is what we were thinking and why we were thinking. Like I said, that this first thing I said when I read this was the flower pots, and it's like, why haven't we done that? And then I remembered, we're waiting for the roads. Well, then we should put that in there. It's a 2030 project, because otherwise people are gonna look at that and think the same thing.
Yeah,
That's $5,000-6,000. We're gonna have all those planners replaced and picked out in no time, and we're delaying it for whatever reason, so.
Well, right, I mean, I don't know if it clutters up the strategic plan by putting in a note as to why the date is what it is.
Silence.
Flower pots as an example of coinciding with, highway projects.
Yeah.
And then might put a note in for it when you change the date, whether you push the date out further or bring it in, as you say, brought in from 2030 to 2028 because of this reason. I don't know if it's worth putting a little footnote on them or whatever.
It'd be the same as the downtown beautification. Again, we're not gonna spend a lot of time and money on that now because they're gonna tear the street up and it would
So that would be a 2030 project also, so.
But a footnote wouldn't hurt again,
Yeah,
transparency.
Right.
Focus area number 2, safe and welcoming neighborhoods, are in progress. Blight remediation plan, working with, the CDA on how do we handle blight? What is those processes? When does it come into raise order? When do we, use eminent domain? Rick has already kind of started that as a memo, and so just kind of having that on our website and a process that residents know that, hey, this goes from first contact to, ordinance violations to this is the step that we take. Ensure facilities align with standards. Obviously, we have a lot more to go, but we are working now with Village Hall and Public Works Building. Redoing the downtown design standards. That's something that the CDA is working on as we speak. Evaluate right-of-ways for necessity. Later in this board meeting, we will talk about right-of-ways. And then map out plow routes, which I know Drew is working on with his guys. Future, develop a Belleville 101 program. This was actually Bill Eichelkraut and I's project that obviously he retired, so we didn't get to work on it, but this was like residents could take like an 8-week course. It was like a citizens academy for the police department mixed in with a 101 with the city of like, does planning commission work? How do you budget? How does road maintenance work? How does salting work? Stuff like that. Take a tour of the treatment plant, kind of get people more integrated into what government does. A touch of truck event, added traffic calming measures. When this was created, we got a lot of complaints that Olson Avenue was really fast. So the board said, hey, do we look at putting like a bump out or not a bump out, but like a speed bump, something like that. Chief wanted what? I didn't say, but I'd say that was something the board cared about then. I don't know if the board cares about that now, but that was something that you did care about. Establish a neighborhood watch program. This was something that Bill had put in there, and then increase west side signage, like kids that play, stuff like that. So I don't know, is there any major thoughts on focus area 2? Chief, do you have feelings about speed bumps or speed tables or anything like that? I know you probably don't.
I was gonna say, I would hope he doesn't.
From a plow standpoint, so.
What?
Constantly having to fix them because the plow tears them up.
Yeah. So again,
People bottom out on them.
How about potholes? We can install potholes.
I like them.
Good idea.
Let's go around the belt.
So I don't know, is that something that I can take off, prosperity and economic security, permit requirement transparency. Maren's working on that now with the civic review and putting all of our permits online. And that way it's very clear to what's going on and it's all on our website. And then municipal facilities site, we're looking at that now with Public Works and Village. Future, we had quite a bit in this area for the library doing more economic development programming, developing a marketing strategy, promoting our local trails, downtown beautification plan, a river access point, more public-private partnerships. Like I said, we're working with the Kayla on that public-private partnership, and can we work with Tim and Denny on kind of their thoughts on downtown a little bit, and then review our branding guidelines. Focus area 4, infrastructure and connectivity. In progress, a utility infrastructure maintenance plan, and our infrastructure audit. We are doing that right now. We did the water system study last year.
Yeah.
And we're doing our wastewater facilities plan as we speak. We talked for about 2.5 hours today on the capital plan for the next, 40 years on our wastewater plan. I feel pretty good that we know where our rates, what's going to impact our rates. And so now Ian and Liz and I can sit down and actually map that out.
The other thing we talked about in Public Works was for streets and sidewalks. If you
Yes.
go to the city of Evansville website, they got a couple of nice colored maps, and everybody likes a colored map, showing what streets we're gonna do, what sidewalks, or here's the priorities, so.
Yeah, people
can
can look and see for the next 5 years.
Yeah, we looked at that, or talked about that at Public Works, and I know that's one thing that's on my list for this year and next to get done, so.
On that subject, we actually just back from DOT, they just shift over our Whistler ratings to us and then to, Scott at MSA, who's gonna be loading them into our GIS system. So that's one of the foundational steps for that exact thing.
Future, conduct ADA audits, complaint form and ADA resolution process. I think this was a priority for the board because we eliminated the ADA committee and put it in planning commission. And then update drop-off program and encourage composting.
So drop-off program is what, drug drop-off, or what kind of drop-off?
Compost, or, the yard
Oh,
waste,
yard waste.
yard pickup, brush pickup, all of that kind of stuff, which we've talked about with, if Public Works' garage is rebuilt, and what does that look like? So we've had some conversation, but not a ton. Exceptional service in government, hire communications youth apprentice, if you saw my admin update, we are hiring a marketing youth apprentice. Communications, bringing building inspection in-house. We're currently in the active process now. We did just get an application today for it, our resume sent from our contractors, recruitment firm. So Ian and I have had a brief chat about that. Develop onboarding processes now that Donna is kind of assisting me in HR. That's one of the tasks that she's started to work on. Professional development opportunities, working with all the department heads to make sure, hey, where are our weaknesses? Where can we send our staff to kind of help build our organization and their training? I know, Chief, you've done a couple of trainings with officers just recently, you've done separate classes. Place updated code on our website in 3 weeks or 4 weeks. All the new code will be on our website. So, and we haven't updated that in a while. And so getting that cleaned up will be great. And then eventually working on kind of the elections emergency plan.
So is that if we have an emergency during an election or if we have an emergency election?
The
Yeah.
first
Sure.
one. Let's not have any more emergency elections. No, it would be the plan. So we have election inspectors know what they need to do in case of emergency, power outage, that kind of stuff, but we haven't written it down. So it's just getting it on paper and verifying.
Yeah, cause last year or whatever, Brooklyn,
It was like,
they hired a guy with a gun on the porch.
yeah, it was like
Closed
2
down
years
the
ago,
building.
yeah.
So.
It's 20, I think that was 23, where they had neighbors arguing and a shooting right outside the polling place, so they had to move to their backup location. Like, we know what our backup location is, the PD, but like, we don't have it like written down. So if I got hit by a bus in Tierney, by lightning, then it would be hard for them to remember properly. We're working on it.
Well, luckily we don't have a transit system for that bus.
Yeah.
It's the school bus I'm worried about.
Oh, yeah.
Drafting a communications plan, again, hard to market the village or anything like that, when we don't know quite where are we wanting to head to. Employee evaluation process, we've kind of worked on this, but in extent, but it takes a few years to implement and get everybody kind of on the same board and process of what that looks like. And every department, we run so many different companies in the village, every department is its own separate company, so it's kind of hard to establish a full organizational wide evaluation process. So working on that. UW Extension does free employee trainings. So tapping into that resource and then process map each department. Obviously, that's a wish list, but how does each department do in each process? And then kind of working through that. And get standard operation procedures and things like that. And I know Drew is doing that with his departments, and Tierney, when she steps over into our department, will kind of be able to assist with that as well. And then next steps, review these progresses and future priorities, check the years. What do you care about? Is there something in this list that isn't, that you're like, hey, this should be a priority? And then the April 21st, which is the organizational meeting, you will literally go through committees. You will appoint the people you need to appoint to things, and we'll go through the strategic plan and then really go through it, change things that we need to change. So give me that homework, as soon as you can, so I can kind of include that. May 4th, you will approve it at your board meeting, and then the department head retreat that Friday, we will go through that and figure out how we implement. So that is the homework. Any major questions or anything like that?
So with that, that's it for the agenda. Any other communication, miscellaneous communications, anything like that? Miscellaneous business? I'd entertain a motion to adjourn the committee of the whole.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned.
At 7 o'clock, I will call to order the Village of Belleville Board of Trustees meeting for Monday, April 6th, 2026. 7 o'clock. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And roll call, please.
President Zeus,
Here.
trustee Spanier,
Here.
Baumgart, here, Cameron.
Here.
Eichelkraut, here, Casmar,
Here.
Ziegler.
Here.
Yep, four.
Public comments. Do we have any public comment tonight? Seeing none. I will move on. Any online?
Nope.
Nope. All right. Consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are considered routine and will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member requests this, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered the first item after the approval of the consent agenda. We have the village board meeting minutes for March 16th, the March 2026 check register, budget amendment resolution 2026-11 for tree plantings, budget amendment for soccer goals, quarter one board payroll, Kiwanis garage sale, and the farmers market applications.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda. as
Second.
presented.
Motion by Debbie, seconded by Tony. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Hey.
Motion passed. Business report. We have an election tomorrow. Everyone had a wonderful short break. And thank you, Deb. This is your last meeting.
Yep. How many years have you been on? 21. Thank you for your time.
Old business. Consider approval of budget amendment resolution 2026-12 renovation and expansion of 1 West Main Street.
First off, 1 West Main Street is a better address for City Hall, or Village Hall than 24 West Main Street.
I'll give you that one.
Thank you. The resolution in front of you is a not to exceed dollar amount. It to cover everything, including the first floor renovations, which is literally just Village Hall's kind of the office space, the basement, which will have a bathroom, the IT closet, the janitorial closet, and a break room, as well as the elevator. The food pantries extension, they are using the same floor plan and layout, or the same for the same area underneath the drive-through as exists now. So same area in that sense. Furniture and fixtures, as well as the IT costs to get everything mapped out and ready to go. I can't say like for sure that if something's they may increase later, and if I have to come back, then I will for something, but that is what I feel in terms of the cost.
We'll make a motion to approve
Asher, get up.
number 2026-12.
Second.
Motion by Deb, and I'll give the second to Debbie. each of my head. Discussion.
So I looked at the email that you sent out.
Yes.
And I know nothing about construction, but it's $125 or something like that, a square foot for the main part of the building where the village hall staff is gonna be.
Yeah,
And it's $250 a square foot for the
extension.
and there's no,
So the
and again,
reason,
like I said, I know nothing about costing construction, but that seems, it should be just the opposite, in my opinion. Cause it's gonna be an open space with some cabinets and stuff like that in the food pantry versus all the walls and the outlets and the HVAC and everything we need to put in the village hall part of it.
so all of the stuff in the village hall exists now as the layout. What's gonna cost us a little bit more is if you look in kind of the back corner where Drew and I are, there is a pretty thick concrete wall where the old safe was. We are taking that out. We left it in the first couple iterations of this, but we were mapping village hall around one wall. I'd rather take that wall out and do offices around the outside of it and then kind of a bullpen in the center. But other than that, village hall's layout isn't really changing. AC obviously will get updated, IT, but a lot of the existing kind of push throughs stay where we have to build everything on that extension. So we're using the same kind of layout, but everything's coming down and we have to put everything back up. So HVAC has to be extended out there, piping, water, sewer, everything has to get out there.
It's uphill.
And it's uphill, and so we don't have to do that here. The bathrooms exist. The plumbing, we just have to update the bathrooms. So all of that's new, and so we have to get everything out to that, which is why it costs.
So I mean,
Yeah.
it falls well, price per square foot, it falls well within the average for an office remodel and for new office construction. So,
Yeah, I mean, basically you're paying for the earth moving, the mechanicals and
So it's gonna stay at that level. And how far, is it going out all the way over the overhang or to where the overhang goes now, or the drive-through, or a little shorter?
Little shorter, but not much. And then the wall, actually the entrance to the food pantry is going to be on the west side of the wall, not on Vine Street, but around the corner. Part of that was wind, but the other part is we're actually, later down the road at parking stalls off Vine Street for parking for Village Hall. And so due to the elevation of that building, we're going to put a pretty long ramp, especially for individuals who use the food pantry. If we did that on the other side, we couldn't do parking. And so we had to put the entrance on the west side.
Right, that was gonna be one of my questions is
With the food pantry was perfectly fine. They had no issue with that.
with how to access that addition from the back.
Yep, there'll be a ramp that goes down and around.
So the ramp and stairs to get to that vestibule door?
Yep.
Is that's not part of the quote, or is it?
It is to my extent. I can double check a guess.
Yeah, I guess, have I seen a statement of work for exactly what's all included? One of my concerns was, heating and air conditioning and humidity control for, specifically the basement storage.
Which is,
you know,
which is included.
And specifically removal of the vault. That's in a haul away of all that.
So you're saying there's gonna be a ramp and stairs that come
Stairs will
from
go
here over to here?
Stairs will go just straight down, but then a ramp will go down and around. Cause it's a long ramp, so it'll have to do a huge.
Sure, leave it alone.
So. But is there gonna be parking here? There's not gonna be
No.
parking here?
Cause there's
So people that are coming into the food pantry are gonna have to either park down here or on the street then, right?
yes. Which the Karen and Lori were both the people who had no issue with that. We got their approval and their sign off on this design. Yeah.
just a word of caution, sometimes people buy a house, they run out and buy new furniture to fill their rooms
Not
they didn't have before.
Come
Don't go out and hire, you can't go out and hire the personnel to fill all these offices right away.
I will not. No, no, I will not. I will not.
Is that a room for, I see community development?
Eventually a community development director, I've been involved in city hall plannings where they redo city hall, but they only do it to the extent that they've hired currently, not to future extensions. So, this shows that we will hire a community development director eventually, and we'll hire an HR person eventually. And then 3 cubicles, for interns and stuff like that. That's why the elevator is coming in, is we have the entire basement floor to expand with office space when time requires.
I think we'd all feel better if it said office TBD.
I figure I can do that. The reason why I did actually the HR bigger, so you could see where the file cabinets work, is that does have to be a locked space other than, my office where personal files go, so that office does have to be a little bit bigger to do all those file cabinets.
What's our
Restroom. And then the middle space is where the copy printer is, so right outside of that front desk. So right when you walk in will be a window for the deputy clerk will face, and then another window where it says waiting. So if say, hey, I really want to talk to Ian about taxes or whatnot right now, you have to stand behind Tierney's desk to talk to somebody. Here, you'll go to that waiting window and Ian can help somebody and somebody else can go into that. So that'll.
So it's more secure.
More secure, very secure. We will be putting fobs in. Chief is working with some vendors now to kind of get some quotes. For public work, or for the police department, for the library, for the village center, and for the village hall. Right now, we have 2 different systems for library and PD. Catherine is gonna help pay for the fobs at the village center, and then we'll have fobs over at village hall. All can be done by the chief. So when we have a new employee, hey, chief, this person needs X access. He can upload that and get that done. Conference room, we have that set up so that somebody can just say, hey, I'm here to meet with Gabe. We can just put him in the conference room and then I can come join them, or whatever.
You can put a bed and TV in your office as big as it is.
I know, Ian really liked that. He said, as the important person, you need to have the biggest office in the corner.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Have you noticed though, right now there is no window.
That's right, you don't have one there, do you?
The existing Chase. May go out, they may put a window there, but as of right now, that wall, this doesn't have a window. And neither does the assistant. The only windows are under HR, finance, and.
We don't stare down the alley all day, David.
That is what I do. I think about like, wow, this is a beautiful view.
You can perhaps put a vent in there and you can smell my past cooking over. Yeah, something like that.
Put an outdoor picture on your wall, you're fine.
I don't know, so I'm not worried about it.
We're actually gonna we'll put in a high def TV for you, but we'll program it so it can't get Chiefs games.
Oh, don't be mean. As long as I get March Madness. So yes, if there's any other questions on that, then in the basement, break room, janitorial, IT, elevator, and then plenty of storage. So especially as we grow, we have that to be able to expand into. That's it. Once this is done, we will then set up a plan to sell the home and recoup some of the purchase price and. Away.
How'd this compare to renovating the existing village hall?
What was it, 8 million?
Diamond.
9
So it
million?
makes me question why renovating the existing village hall was so high.
One, the elevator was gonna be expensive. The HVAC and all that systems were gonna have to be replaced.
Wiring.
Electrical was in really bad shape. Everything about Village Hall
We'd have to gut it and start over.
terrible shape, and you can't use 95% of the basement.
Or the upstairs.
Or the upstairs, and so while Village Hall is technically bigger where we exist now, the usable space is by far less. My hope is to be able to sell it for somebody or
I still believe in having a location where you can include meeting space
Me too.
to hold these meetings.
I agree.
Can't we meet in the conference room?
You can't have a public meeting in the conference room.
board will always stay at the village center, but you will see tomorrow as it's getting during elections, the conference room at the, over there has the two doors put in, so entrance, exit. Brana's old office has been walled off for election storage from Marin. The other side already has the conference room. So for that, for the future there, we're in pretty good shape. The next big part of that project was just kind of make the cameras sounding better.
What a joke.
So we could use the conference room at the new village hall for committee meetings. Possible.
Technically, yeah, you could, or for town hall meeting or something like that, or, yeah, technically. It'll be just a big conference room table.
Yeah.
It'll be there. But if you guys want to use it to meet with somebody or say, hey, can we talk about blank? Yeah. We could run it out to people, like there's a lot of things we could do to help, like make that more of a public space for residents. And the conference room at the 130 South Vine is available, the chamber uses it all the time.
Just don't like having two buildings in the village used by the village for when it could be one. So you guys know where I'm going with this.
Predictable.
Any other discussion? All right. We do a roll call vote, please.
Yep. Okay, we'll call vote. President Service,
No.
trustee Bainan,
Yes.
Bongardt,
Yes.
Cannon,
Yes.
Kraft,
Yes.
Casmar,
Yes.
Ziegler.
Yes.
Passes on a 6-1.
Motion passed. All right, next item on the agenda is consider approval of ordinance 2026-03 to repeal and recreate the code of ordinances for the village of Belleville, Dane and Greene counties, Wisconsin. Yours.
We have gone,
Nothing more to say.
we have gone over these about a year or so. Every committee's had their chance to review it. We had wrote them 2.5 years ago to 3 years ago. We've really started reviewing them about a year, committee level wise. Every committee has made their recommendations. Finance committee has fully made the recommendations. The committee of the whole has now made their final recommendations. Now sits to you to enact these. You will enact them. It will go live, I believe, right? Effective
Tomorrow, according to the ordinance.
And then it'll take probably 3 to 4 weeks to get it just on the website because they have to take everything down. I don't know their process. That is what they told us.
Move approval of ordinance 2026-03 to repeal and recreate the code of ordinances for the village of Belleville, Dane and Greene counties, Wisconsin.
Second.
Just do it.
We did it, Ian. We
Shelley
did it
gets
for
it.
you.
Shelley gets a second.
Okay.
Any discussion?
My only comment would be is that we just need to make sure that as we amend these now in the future, that we do a better job of getting them to go 3060 so that they can stay updated, so that we don't have to go through this again until it's necessary. Again,
Right.
I'm not doing it.
Well, I say, I thought that
Don't
wasn't
blame
updated, but we hadn't reviewed this.
Well, no, I agree, every 10 years or so, I think you probably should go through the whole kit and caboodle, but, But again, we weren't even updating what we had updated, so.
Yes.
So do we have, I'm assuming there's a defined process now that when we do make an ordinance change, that it does get through all the steps to get taken care of? I mean, it sounds
Yeah,
like
the
that was
answer is-
lacking in
the
the
answer
past.
is yes. So my predecessors were just stopped about 2021 updating to code 360. So by the time I got here and like I really understood by 24, we were 3 years deep into who knows what. But I have had communication with them, not only about the repeal and replace, but also like they have taught me the process, but it was like, ooh, do we want to put 3 years, 4 years of that and spend the money when we were about to repeal
No,
and
I'm not.
replace anyway, so.
I'm not saying it was anything you did, I'm just.
No,
I
I'm just
wanna
saying
make sure-
that's a long way around of saying, yes, I do know the process and the clerk's office will be sure that we keep those updated.
We have also included budget now too, because it does have some cost. So we do have budget in there to make those changes. Just for the board, yes.
Okay, cheaper now than it was, because we all used to get that 3-inch binder that we had to take home with this, and
Still
Still
have
have
a,
to have a binder.
then you had to update that, and, huh?
There still has to be at least one binder.
Well, sure there is.
There's some.
All right, so we have policy and procedure in place to help prevent
Yes.
things getting out of date. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Does Merit no longer own the stormwater utility then? Is that all over with?
No, I said we should.
Good, yes. The strangest thing.
Congratulations.
you know, there's power in being a clerk.
All right, on to new business. Considering the approval of budget amendment resolution 2026-13 for purchasing of bulk water meters.
Okay, I'm pretty sure we've been over this before, the back and forth a little bit. But yes, at the end of the day, we need to change out water meters at a minimum of once every 20 years. That is the PSC talking. And we installed 831 of them in 2011. So in order to, not repeat a horrible process every 20 years, I wanted it started and replacing some of these this year. For future years, we've already got it budgeted for more water meters to start that replacement cycle, just so we break it up into numerous years. But I would like to get us started this year, this summer. This would be $34,000, which is like 93 water meters, something like that. So with new developments, that'll give us enough for new developments plus some replacements to get started this year.
And is this a budgeted item for every year going forward now?
Yep, starting next year.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2026-13.
Second,
Second to Scott. I didn't know what business to get into, water meter production.
You did buy badger meter stock. It's cheap.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Easier.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Consider the approval of the FTE status change for deputy clerk role.
So the deputy clerk role, since I had it, was always a part-time 80%. With Tierney taking the position with Drew in Public Works and Administrative, I really thought this might be a good time to consider, and considering the workload and the growth in the village, to put somebody at the deputy clerk role that would be the front face of the village for anybody that comes in or calls in a consistent manner. The issue we've had in the last year or so has been when Tierney's out, not in the office for those 8 hours of the week. Everyone has to pick up that slack and cover, and then people working on big projects and stuff have to stop. They have to go down to Tierney's desk. They have to help somebody, and we all have the experience to do it. That's not the concern. The concern is like half of them go, "Where's Tierney?" So, just because the village is growing and because this is, we certainly have the work for it for a full-time deputy clerk. And with Tierney moving up and having to hire someone, I wanted to bring this to you guys now. I go into a lot more detail in that memo about reasons I think this is a good move for the clerk's office. But yeah. Just think if you guys are okay with it. I know we didn't budget for it.
I'll make a motion that we approve the increase of the deputy clerk position to 100% effective with the new hiring.
Second,
By Gary, second by Deb. So for budgeting this, does that add additional benefits?
They were already eligible for, our health insurance, all of that. We pay 88% of the, premium with the state plan, so there's every other municipality is on the state plan. But if you're a prorated employee or you're a part-time employee, your benefits are prorated. So if you're 80%, you pay 80% or something. So we will have to pay a little bit more of health insurance to cover their, if they take it. If they don't take it, then it's not a issue.
We're still budgeting for the full cost though.
Well,
Right.
so we, in a sense, but in a sense, no, because what has happened is Tierney is going up, and then this person is gonna take, what was Jamie's health insurance. Jamie had, did not take it, so we did spend a little bit of hers, so we will have a little bit of a deficit, in that area. Regardless if you make this full-time or part-time, like we are running, we may run a little bit significantly of a deficit. But again, take us a little longer to hire.
Yeah, so you've got some salary savings.
That
by
salary
position being
savings is in there.
And when we budgeted for Jamie, wasn't that
It was a
with full
full
benefit?
It was.
So, yeah, so.
So we will be a little bit short on that. We also will be a little bit short or she will be a little bit over in the clerk's office budget because we're going from 80% to 100%. Will make us a little bit over. Again, I care more about where's the clerk's office in total, and then Ian cares more about where's the general fund in total. But with the department heads, like, I don't care if Marion's maybe $100 over in like elections maintenance. I care more about is the clerk's office over. And really, it doesn't matter as long as the general fund is over and under, when you really count as just the general budgeting of the village. I obviously want our department heads to be more accurate and kind of that, but like, overall, is it gonna be as major impact in the budget? I think it's gonna be 10K roughly if we hired like today for the full time.
But we
Obviously,
but
we haven't posted it yet because I was waiting for you guys to give permission on the FTE status of it. So obviously every day that it's open, so that's savings, Tierney, and we already have a little bit savings for the admin role because Tierney is getting a bump up with the new role, so we've saved a little bit on that for her still being in the clerk's office for another week. And obviously the longer that the deputy clerk's office job is vacant.
So I have a couple thoughts here. I think one, we're a little administratively top heavy anyway. Two, Jamie wasn't in that role very long, so we don't know with an admin, with an administrative assistant, you know, do we still need that? Maybe it'll work, right, with the 80%. The third thing I'd say is if we do hire a full-time deputy clerk, if we do create that full-time position, we definitely need to start having Village Hall open till 4:30 on Fridays, have the full hours. If we're gonna have the personnel, the hours to do it, we should be open.
I guess you guys can talk a little bit more about where the position kind of differences, but the deputy clerk's role is fully, it's really that front office person. That's what we've advertised it. So like when you come into Village Hall, that's the person. So that's really the big role of that, but I guess you guys can talk about where the admin assistant.
Okay, the admin assistant part, I will say simply for my part is the village is growing like crazy and quite frankly, there's a lot of demands. What people demanded out of a village in 1988, 1990 seems very different than what they're demanding now. We're talking about green spaces and butterfly gardens and tree plants and lots of things, not to mention the actual infrastructure involved with the growth. Frankly, honestly, I feel like there's a lot more put on public works than maybe there used to be. Not to mention regulatory compliance has grown like crazy. It just has, I don't want to call it an industry, but it feels like it must be one. Just handling with it. So the added help for both taking away some of my day-to-day work, operationally, not to mention helping with larger projects, it would be absolutely, entirely useful with the direction that we're going. And I also, I do want to push back a little bit on the admin heavy comment. Like I see what you're saying, and maybe I'm misconstruing this, but I feel like a lot of times the assistant village administrator title, people forget that primarily I'm your director of public works, and that's a position that everyone's got. So I feel like sometimes I get lumped into that admin heavy thing when really that's more of a.
Every once in a while, I bring him in on an HR conversation, and he's in charge when I'm not printed. But other than that, like, he's not.
Yeah, my primary thing is public works. I don't really feel like if you're talking about a body count people you're working in admin, I honestly don't feel I'm part of that.
Well, you spend more time in public works or at village hall?
Oh, as far as my person, I spend more time in village hall. But public works doesn't spend their time in public works. Public works is out in the field.
No, I get that.
So I mean, yeah.
But we're not really adding a position.
No, you're.
We're adding 20%.
Yeah, it's 8 hours.
And from a deputy clerk standpoint, I don't. And understand that I'm not trying to diminish the deputy clerk here because I started as deputy clerk, but it's not an admin position like my statutory roles as clerk. While they do have the statutory duty to do this kind of stuff that the clerk's office does, if I'm unable to do it, a deputy clerk is more of, I would put it akin on a level to like a public works operator, except in the office. They have, I mean, they're doing a lot of very menial, repetitive, important tasks to the village, but the minus a couple big projects that we've done, most of what the deputy clerk does is greet people at the door, answer the phones, and basic day-to-day things, and then whatever I ask them to, basically. So this isn't like another, I mean, you can't look at all office staff as the same as a department head, because I would say the deputy clerk, not trying to minimize, like Tierney's done amazing work, Donna does amazing work in the utilities, but that's different than finance or what Drew does. So these are really important support roles that we value, because I can't focus on the big things the clerk's office needs to do if I'm constantly interrupted by answering the door. And I think similar to Drew's administrative assistant, like those are bigger projects than what we ask from the deputy clerk. And while Tierney is fabulous at multitasking, I can't ask her to keep stopping something to come over and answer the door when we could just have a full-time deputy clerk that people recognize, people are comfortable with, and has the ability to multitask back and forth into really short, like, because when you're spending your time working on the dog tags or inputting the invoices or all this stuff, that's easy to flip back and forth. Whereas when I'm preparing minutes or agendas, that's harder to stop and start. So they're definitely different roles. And then I'm just going to speak a little bit to the Friday hour comment. Most village halls in the area close earlier than we do on Friday. Like Verona closes at 11. I mean, they're open at 7, but they close at 11. I think when we talked about moving the hours, and granted that was 23, when we went from the 5 p.m. every day to the 2 on Friday, I haven't had, I mean, there's always an outlier complaint now, but in the 3 years we've been there, nobody really complains about needing village hall on a Friday at 4. I spent a lot of days in Village Hall, sitting by myself at Friday at 4, doing nothing because nobody was coming in and everybody else had gone home. So I don't find it to be a good use of staff time. But that's my opinion.
Any additional comments by the board? All right, so we have a motion by Gary, seconded by Deb to approve the FTE status change for the deputy clerk role. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-1. Is it
6
or
or
2?
2,
3?
I was a no.
Okay, thank you. So that passes on 4-3 then.
Next item of business, consider the approval of proposal for geotechnical exploration and report for the North Side Sanitary Sewer Extension.
A lot of words. Yeah, they're just doing the soil boring, you know, to check how the ground lies, what the soil's made of, the moisture content, so that they can predict, you know, what settles, what doesn't for the laying of the sewer extension. We have Kevin, our village engineer's recommendation here. Says he's familiar with both companies. They've dealt with both companies, and the services offered, they meet the need. They're essentially the same, and so he recommends going with the lesser expensive one, SES Incorporated.
Make a motion that we enter into a contract with SES Incorporated not to exceed $9,980 for the soil bearings for the North Side Sanitary Sewer.
Second.
Debbie's getting it. So, okay, so this is for the extension that goes north along Badger Trail,
Sir,
and looks like there's a branch out into the industrial park, or where?
I think it takes a jog there if I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
Okay. It goes up the trail.
Soil boring to be for the north, the extension.
Yes.
And the actual, yeah, the map is on there, shows where the sewer, or the extension's gonna go, but this would be for everything north
And
of, yeah.
they have already received DOT approval.
So I don't know much about digging sewer extensions, but I'm guessing it's real handy to know what you're digging into.
it is.
Clay or rock. Yes, exactly.
Because that will allow them to decide what type of fill in things they need to make sure it's stable and doesn't shift, and
Yeah,
bust our pipes is easy.
the ground moving underneath you is generally not favorable. Not a good thing.
Okay, so motion by Gary. Oh,
Drew, I know we were talking about taking out the North Shore station. Is that included in this, or is that for future?
If this pipeline goes to plan, I believe that would be it.
Well, that,
Although
we need to add another, we need to.
it's got to
We
extend.
have to extend from that over to where the, yeah, it can't come out automatically. There'd be a little cost to do that down the road.
Okay.
From what I remember from the
Yeah,
public works meeting, so,
I guess all of that hasn't been approved
Right.
yet, so.
right.
right, that's probably a future phase of this planning.
It's a future phase of this planning that everyone in public works really wants to have.
Yeah. Sooner than later, yes.
Right. So this would happen, then they'd come back with quotes of what it's gonna cost to put all the pipe in.
Right.
And at that point would be when you'd add the connection over to whatever's needed to remove the lift station. And the engineering behind that, so. Okay, anyone else? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Next item, consider approval of the proposal for geotechnical exploration and report for the Heritage Trail Lookout.
This is precisely the same thing, except this is for the lookout that will be out on the west side going over the Sugar River that we're talking about connecting the trail on, what's the name of the park? Carolina Street. Riverbend. This is for, supporting the lookout, the pier-like thing off the trail. Same exact deal, same exact logic, same companies bidding and the same result where Kevin recommends SES, ready to do the work.
So I kind of see on the map, you know, the satellite map of where they're gonna take borings offset 20 feet apart. Is there an alternate location that will also be explored in case? I'm just wondering, you know, not knowing much about soil myself, but that it's along the river, things could be very silty. And I'm assuming they're looking for how far down bedrock is in order to put pylons in.
I believe that is part of the consideration. I did have some conversations with Kevin actually about this one. He did not anticipate any problems with as far down as they are going.
Kevin and I have walked to this multiple times, so he and I have a pretty good idea of where they're gonna be boring, and what's could be better, but anything can happen.
I mean, I'm guessing if they find issues, yeah, then they're probably gonna come back and say, you need to do additional boring someplace else to find a better location for it.
Right, and then there'll be a whole nother
Yeah,
You have budgeted
$1,000.
two part of this on the TID,
I think cut it back to 1.5 before.
you're not going to need that. So in the TID line, like, not saying like you have cash to spend, but like, this isn't financially, I'm not worried about this part, like, this is going to be a 88 trail to the down overpass or lookout from the river, and then brush hog nature trails. That's what this. So like, as project wise, you're not gonna be spending a ton on camping. So if we have to do a couple more boreholes, like it really won't impact. That's it.
I realize that, I'm just,
They're well aware of what they're going into and the fact that where they're going is under like a foot of water. None of this is a shock to them. They don't, I am to some extent relying on their, professional expertise. They don't see this as an issue at all.
I'll make a motion to go to enter into a contract with SES Incorporated for not to exceed $5,085 for the soil borings for the west side path development.
Second.
motion by Gary, second by Scott. Any additional discussion?
Ashley left. Apparently this part of the meeting was boring.
It's very upsetting.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Got it.
All right, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
New stuff.
And
No, we got one person on one side.
are into closed session. All right, the Village of Belleville Village Board will enter into a closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85 subsection 1 subsection E for the purposes of deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. The village board may reconvene into open session and take action on the subject discussed in closed session. We have two items that will be discussed tonight. The first is considering the purchase of right-of-way easement located at parcel, not going to read the parcel number, And the other is to consider the sale of a portion of village property located at a different parcel.
You need a motion to go to closed session?
Yeah.
So,
Second.
And second by Deb. So roll call,
Yep, President Service,
yes.
trustee Spanier,
Yes.
Bongar. Yep. Gannon.
Yep.
Eichelkraut,
Yes.
Casmar.
Yeah.
Pickler.
Yes.
And at 7:45.
Or motion to adjourn.
We're good.
I don't know.
So we're back in open session. Recording's on. All right, communications miscellaneous business, any news and announcements? Election tomorrow.
Has broken the record for distance flown from Earth.
Oh, and they're on the dark side now, aren't they? Yeah.
The first people to be on the dark side of the moon and come back and not at the movie.
Isn't that a Pink Floyd song?
It's a motion to adjourn.
And upcoming community events are the village calendar,
On the website.
planning commission on Wednesday. Future agenda items,
Comp plan, not comp plan, strategic plan, committee assignments, appointees to all the things and stuff. At the next meeting,
8 special events on that next agenda, so.
8 special events apparently.
You know what we're not talking about?
What?
Ordinances.
We're not, you are so right. The,
By the way, I have an ordinance amendment we got, no, never mind.
the audit will be done the first meeting in May. And we are looking very good. We did good.
Good.
We did very
Good job, Ian. Good job.
I did very little.
now you can go.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Deb, her final motion,
Final motion.
second by Shelley
Boo.
to adjourn. All those in favor? Opposed? We are adjourned at 8:21.